Okay, should be recording. Make sure. Okay, so today we're going to talk about cybersecurity careers. This is going to be an informational meeting where we kind of discuss what you need to do as like a college student to prepare yourself for cybersecurity and also just general information regarding cybersecurity as well. We're hoping that this video could be helpful, or this presentation could be helpful for those still curious about the career. And once we have it posted, we could also have people look at it for future reference as well. So that will go straight into it. Quick announcement: this Friday we are gonna have a workshop with Kali Linux. It'll be revolved around intro to systems, and so we'll talk a bit more about Linux and why it's so prevalent and why it's useful. And we'll also do some activities for you to be able to work with Callie as well. So hopefully I'll see you on Friday for that, and we'll have a room and all the information needed for that posted soon. So just for our agenda, we're just gonna have a quick introduction to the presentation, and we're also gonna include an elevator pitch for cybersecurity, more details for cybersecurity roadmaps. I think I also forgot to put in there different cybersecurity careers, so we're also gonna talk about that. And finally, we're going to have importance of cybersecurity and some closing thoughts. So for the introduction, we have a quick video that I thought was really good, that really approaches cybersecurity from a fundamental kind of standpoint, methodologically. So I'm going to go ahead and take some time to watch that. Can you guys hear the video?
No, we can't hear a video.
Okay, one sec.
It's not on full volume. Maybe that's what the issue is.
Okay, I hope that was a pretty interesting video. There we go. So I think that video really highlights the importance of cybersecurity and really why we really need it in the digital age that we live in. So quick, so this is a quick sort of elevator pitch on cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is about mastering the understanding of safety. It's about understanding different vulnerabilities, how they form, and different exploits. And ultimately, you're really fighting an invisible battle, a battle that's taken all digitally and might be not as prevalent as other battles you might see in the real world. As a cybersecurity expert, your job is to see when something is wrong and be able to report it so that whatever system or whatever misconfiguration that it's able to be handled correctly and it isn't exploited by unwanted users or hackers. Cybersecurity professionals are protectors of the digital world, and they're dedicated towards furthering their knowledge in technology, responsible for handling incidents and responding in response. And ultimately, I like to think that they're firefighters putting out fires for different things. I think some of that could also correlate to like people working in IT, but in terms of the battle between hackers and unwanted users, cybersecurity is really important, and we need experts to be able to protect us from those threats and risks. Okay. So just to talk a bit more about the details, I won't be reading all of the bullet points on the left, but some more further responsibilities for cybersecurity is that you'll find vulnerabilities in your system. A lot of the times, you'll also be teaching other employees or people about cybersecurity awareness. The biggest risk that you have in cybersecurity is people clicking the wrong link or people end up making mistakes and they install something they shouldn't have. And so no matter how much stuff that you put as a defense, if you have someone on the inside make a mistake, that's really costly. So cybersecurity awareness is also a really important aspect of cybersecurity, where you're really educating employees and making sure they don't make these critical mistakes. You'll also be in charge of checking regulations, organizing certain events and plans to sort of prepare for any attacks, any incidents that might happen. Um, you depending on the position, you might also be required to upgrade your software tools or um, patch up any vulnerabilities that might be found. Um, and ultimately controlling sensitive data through different techniques and procedures and making sure that no breaches happen. So we'll talk more about the specific rules and what that might in what that might be in a different slide for the different specific careers. But ultimately, all these, whatever job or position you're working in cybersecurity, even though there's specific dedicated tasks and responsibilities, you are working together as a team. So there's different areas of skill and opportunities each career might have, but ultimately, teamwork and cooperation, the ability to work together is very fundamental as well, right? Cybersecurity is also a job that's highly in demand. We'll talk about in later slides the work and like what is required for you to become a cybersecurity, for you to have a cybersecurity career. But with a job being so high in demand, even though it is pretty difficult, there is a pretty good average salary that comes with cybersecurity careers. As you can see on the left box. Some more requirements that are a bit more conceptual for cybersecurity would be you really need to have critical thinking skills and problem solving skills. You might be in a situation where you worked with something you've never seen before or something that's completely unexpected, and you will be required to adapt to the best of your ability and make sure that whatever job you need to do that it's handled effectively. You need to be willing to spend time learning and developing technical skills. Technology is always advancing and improving, and you cannot just stick with one thing and expect to be an expert in that. Being an expert in cybersecurity means that you're always aware of new threats, new technologies, new vulnerabilities, and being able to mitigate against those risks. That said, a little bit similar, but I also recommend for cybersecurity that you really need to be curious about the technology in order to learn it. Um, I think being curious and enjoying learning about something plays a long way into being able to understanding it. So I put that one up on the list as well. Hey, so we'll quickly talk about some quick entry level positions. Some of these positions might have to go by different names, but I generally use the link below to figure out what the general positions were. So we'll go through the entry level positions, and I think around 6 high level positions that you might expect to see if you're interested in sort of diving into this career. So the first level entry level position we have is information security analyst. Um, these people are in charge of monitoring networks, investigating, documenting, and reporting any security breaches that might happen. They also help other computer users with security products and procedures as well. Information security specialists is in charge of maintaining firewalls and antivirus software on um, systems on a network. They are also in charge of researching new security risks and also suggesting other security improvements that might be needed to the network infrastructure. A digital forensic examiner is in charge of collecting, preserving, and analyzing digital evidence, recovering data from erased or damaged hard drives, and they also provide expert testimony in court proceedings as well. Digital forensics examiners are usually needed when a cybercrime happens, and we need evidence to show that a certain crime was committed. And so they would be in charge of handling all that. Finally, an IT auditor performs security audits and documents any findings. They also provide guidance on recommended security measures and possible risks as well. So I do want to say before moving on to the high level positions that despite being entry level positions, as you may or may not know, these positions do require some level of expertise, even though they might be entry level. So I do want to put that out there saying that even though it might be a little deceiving, just know that these positions are still career positions that have high pay, but also not only high demand, but also not available to everyone. And you definitely need to earn these positions in order to fit that position. So just putting that out there. So moving on to more high level positions, we got security systems administrator, who's who's in charge of monitoring systems and running regular backups and audits. They're also in charge of collaborating with different security teams and documenting different security procedures. One of these procedures might be regarding penetration testing, which is something that the penetration tester is required to do. The penetration tester plans and carries out different penetration tests and creates reports for security recommendations based off of what they were able to find in the test. They might also develop scripts for testing and provide technical support during incident responses as well. We don't have, I don't think I put a specific position for someone who answers or someone who is responsible for handling incident responses, but that might also be one to put out there. So a penetration tester might also be helping out with that, depending on what's needed at the moment. Lastly, in this slide, we also have a security engineer who develops security standards and practices for a team or a group. They help lead incident response teams and develop programs for automating vulnerability detection. They ensure new security systems are installed and are configured correctly. And the last three high-level positions that we have security architect who builds and maintains security networks and systems, and they coordinate with security operations, and they improve systems to respond to different security incidents or vulnerabilities. Next, we have the cryptography engineer who develops new cryptographic algorithms to analyze existing algorithms for vulnerabilities. And, and they implement different encryption solutions and test new encryption techniques and tools to make sure that they're working properly. Cryptography is a really big aspect of cybersecurity and is also what allows data to be sent and transferred securely without people being able to read it kind of in the open. So this is like also a very important role as well, even though it kind of drifts a bit away from traditional cybersecurity rules that we talked about here. So lastly, we have cybersecurity manager, who handles and manages all the human and technological resources regarding cybersecurity. They ensure compliance with the different security rules and regulations for a company, and they lead risk mitigation efforts and track changes to internal and external security policies. So this is kind of like the highest position for cybersecurity, where they're acting as the leader and or manager for all the different cybersecurity aspects that a business or corporation might have. So, okay, So that was just the overview of what possible positions there could be in cybersecurity. Just know there, I didn't cover all of them here, but these might be the most common that you might see as well. Okay, so now we're going to talk about just some basic cybersecurity roadmaps. If you're interested in trying to figure out where to start and how you could slowly progress into cybersecurity. This is one that I made. We have another one on the next slide that was uh, that I got from Stan. But for this one, before entering into like focus topics of different cybersecurity concepts like digital forensics or threat intelligence, I think it's a really good idea to have some baseline skills that allow you to understand technology and be able to navigate around the fundamentals of technology. We'll talk, I have another slide later, but the three general concepts that I like pushing out is programming, systems, and networking. I think these provide really fundamental basics for cybersecurity. And I encourage anyone who wants to get into cybersecurity but may not have the technical knowledge to know what's always going on, is to go back to these three basics and to kind of learn the fundamentals of how computers work and how systems work. Um, in the next slide here, this is a different roadmap that I got from this website. And there's some other information as well, but I really like this roadmap because it shows how you could traverse the different areas of cybersecurity. So I think for the baseline skills, it focuses more on Linux systems and I think networks in general and some other introductions. But you could also use this as a measure to kind of get started into cybersecurity and be able to grow your cybersecurity skills. And also, I will post the slides after the meeting, so you could always go back to these and use them as reference if you need to. This is a small recording I took of this website, which I thought was really cool. This is another roadmap where they have a whole bunch of topics that are listed. It's not necessarily meant to be like a to-do list for all, but it provides an extensive amount of resources if you're interested on what you should be learning to get into certain areas of cybersecurity and what you might want to invest your time into researching or studying. Highly, highly recommend it, especially if you're not already familiar with certain terms within technology or cybersecurity. So you could go check that out as well. All right, so that's the end for the roadmaps. So we're going to talk about what it, this slide talks about what it really takes to do cybersecurity. I don't know how much it's prefaced, but I really want to say that cybersecurity is not easy. Anyone could definitely do it, but not everyone can, just because the amount of fundamentals you need to know or the amount of knowledge that's required for cybersecurity and different topics is very extensive. And the information for, technology and to be able to learn all these different skills is available on the internet. I think personally, anyone can learn it. But the only person who can learn it is yourself. And so if you really, really want to do cybersecurity, you really, really have to put in the time and effort to learn. All right. So lastly, this topic, we're going to talk about the importance of cybersecurity. We did talk about it in the video about, the importance of cybersecurity, but I just kind of wanted to go back to it. So I just want to preface that cybersecurity is really, really important and it's really in demand at the moment, especially in our current age. There's so many recent cyber attacks that have been happening. I think over this year, I've heard of like three different like major cybersecurity news, and you might have heard them as well. If you Google it, you'll definitely find a whole bunch of stuff that's been happening, and also like smaller vulnerabilities that you may not hear so often as well. But data breaches and exploits and vulnerabilities, it's so relevant and it's happening all around us. And even if you're not necessarily going straight into cybersecurity, I think cybersecurity is a really important topic. And I plead to, don't be ignorant over cybersecurity. These things are really the risks are truly damaging, and it's important to keep it in mind and to understand that these things are happening all around us, and that cybersecurity is more relevant than ever. Okay, so just to summarize this meeting, um, three major bullet points to kind of keep in mind is that cybersecurity takes immense time and skill development in technology. Cybersecurity is needed in the modern age of digital technology and is super important. And finally, the careers in cybersecurity will be rewarding to those who are willing to learn. So that's pretty much it. I think as a college student, it's really important to understand the fundamentals of technology and to know exactly what you're trying to protect, because that's what cybersecurity is all about. And although I recommend these three topics for people, especially if they're brand new to technology, you could also use different roadmaps or different places, and it doesn't necessarily have to deal with these three topics. Over the next meetings and workshops, we will dive a bit more into technology fundamentals and these concepts that you see, but do know that no career is ever obtained in the same way. And so even though we're going over similar topics, as long as just you get the information you need, or you're using a different reference, or you get advice from a professional or someone else in the industry to know what you could do or what you need to do in order for you to grow in this career, I think you're pretty much on the right step. So it definitely takes time, and um, as long as you put in the time and effort, I think that you will grow. So okay, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for coming to the meeting. I think we'll pretty much end it here. If anyone has any questions or anything else that they want to add or contribute or talk about, I will be here for a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.